Hey creatives, welcome back to the Almost Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Heberling, and we are a podcast dedicated to serving creative entrepreneurs, whether that's helping you with branding, marketing, or business. A lot of times to grow our business, we have to look ahead to the future, but sometimes it's good to look back to the past. And this week's episode, our guest knows all about the past because he's basically preserving the past for everyone. John, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Travis. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah. So how's 2026 going for you so far?
Really well. Usually I've experienced, January can be slower as everyone's kind of recovering from the holidays, but it's kind of been just the opposite. People have met with their families for the holidays, and now they remember that they have all these videos and stories to tell, and they're reaching out to me.
Yeah. John, you're the owner on Family Album Company. Tell me a little bit more about your company and how they got started.
Well, the Family Album Company was formed so that we can preserve and protect as many family memories as possible before we lose them to either deteriorating film or people just throwing stuff out accidentally. Film was not meant to last forever. VHS tapes have a shelf life, an actual shelf life. After 20 years, they start losing about 10% of their quality per year. So it's really important that our generation, which is the first generation to have a chance to preserve the family memories like this for generations digitally, that we take the responsibility. So that's why I started a company. I used to work for an agency. We worked with institutions like the Art Institute, museums, the Billy Graham Association, and we did very, very interesting jobs, but I wanted to bring that to consumers. And that wasn't part of their business model, so I struck out on my own and started myself.
So you mentioned the Art Institute. So were you guys preserving artwork then?
Some artwork. We also work. What's the name of the library? The Newberry Library downtown is really a research library with maps. So we were brought in to digitize the largest collection of Italian maps this side of the Atlantic Ocean, and they went back to the 1500s. The hand-painted stuff with, dragons in the water. Yeah. And we learned that they did that because the fishermen would tell tales so that other fishermen wouldn't come into their waters.
Okay.
So we did a lot of really neat jobs, and I really enjoyed it. But it was time to, bring it to the consumer. I think it's really important that all families have important stories to tell.
Yeah. Now, when did you start your company then?
In 2023.
Okay, cool.
In the fall, I just kind of started with family and friends, and then I started rolling it out to the public really in 24.
Okay, and then what kind of media are you typically preserving? Like, is this just VHSs? Is it prints? Is it everything? Like
everything under the sun. We do slides, negatives, reel-to-reel film, VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, and photos.
Yeah,
and documents. I've come across some really neat stuff like Polish birth certificates from the 1800s they're works of art that my clients didn't even know they had.
What's probably the oldest thing that you've had to preserve?
In my business, probably 1860.
Okay.
But like I said, the Italian maps went back to the 1500s.
Yeah. Now, do you find is it trickier to preserve things of that age versus like maybe something from like 1990, 2000?
It depends on how they've been stored.
Yeah.
I got really lucky with the Polish birth certificates. They were actually just rolled up in the bottom of a desk drawer of Grandpa's house. And when they were moving Grandpa out, and they found like, oh, what are these?
Yeah.
And that was just but it wasn't in the garage. It wasn't in the basement where there's moisture.
Yeah.
So that was really good. But if stuff is really fragile, we have sleeves that we put in before we put them in a scanner, or we only do flatbed scanning. Yeah. And we're really careful, and I can repair stuff too. So when we do scan, it looks great. And now we have been introducing AI to actually improve the photos also.
Cool. And how's the AI been doing? Because I know sometimes you see people, they'll try to edit out someone out of a photo, and then instead of editing out the person, it'll like replace them with a cat or something. So
I use AI. I don't edit people out.
Yeah.
No one's asked me that, but I do, pictures are folded up in a wallet. Yeah. And they have the creases through them, or it could be any number of things, or stuff's been in the sun and it's faded and we can bring the color back out. And it's great for that. We really had a lot of luck. I had a client who actually she was at my house for bunco.
Yeah.
And she pulled out her wallet and this picture fell out. And I said, what is that? And it was a picture of her father in his Marine dress blues for Vietnam. And part of his head was missing because of the photo. He wasn't shot or anything.
Yeah.
And I was able to repair that. And then she blew it up to an 8x10. Yeah. But she still keeps the original folded up in her purse because it means so much to her.
Yeah.
But it turned out really well. And just using those small touch-up things, it's really helped a lot to bring back some photos.
That's awesome. I don't know if you ever explained it this way, but the way I kind of look at what you do, you're essentially preserving history. You know, when you were doing it on the larger scale, that's what you're doing. But even now, where it's more consumer based, you're preserving their history, whether it's their family legacy or whatever it is. What about that makes you passionate? Like, why is this kind of the thing you feel like you found your passion in?
It all goes back to a story about my mom, and I speak about the power of family memories wherever I can. My mother died in 1999, and at a relatively young age, I'm the youngest of 7. I was only 33, and she left 19 grandchildren and 7 families as her legacy. And I realized that my kids, who were 7, 5.5, and 2.5 at the time, weren't going to remember her.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take it upon myself to start digitizing everything. And back then, it wasn't quite at the level it is now. So I put everything on an external hard drive, which I learned from the internet. And it all went up in smoke.
Yeah.
Like 10 years later when I tried plugging it in.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't do that anymore. So I had to start over from scratch. But it's the story. My mom was an Irish immigrant. She came here when she was 17.
Yeah.
And her and my father raised 7 kids. And it's a great story of success and the American dream and the trials and tribulations they went through, but left an incredible legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I want to do for families. It's these legacies that we don't know, and every family has a story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I've seen is they don't think about it a lot of times till it's too late. The person's already passed and now they're scrambling, trying to find the photos. And I think someone like you, what's great is if they discover you earlier on is you're kind of reaching them before they're actually needing to think about it. I almost kind of compare it to like life insurance or something. It's like you don't need it until you need it, and so it's always good to have it before you actually need it. And I think it's the same with preserving these things is, getting to it before it's like too late and that person's now lost the photos or they got taken away or they got thrown out or whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah. That's really frustrating when people come to me after they lost someone.
Yeah.
Like, boy, I just would love to interview that person and hear their stories. My father-in-law is 88, and he's the only person we have left. So, and he's a great grandfather now to 3 and now coming up 4 kids.
Yeah.
So, and I tell this to people all the time in my talks and in my clients, that if you're lucky enough to still have people old enough to remember incredible things, or even I put my phone on record and put it next to him while he's reading stories to his grandsons, great-grandsons.
Yeah.
And that is really powerful. My mother had a beautiful Irish brogue. I had friends who used to call the house, back when you called the house, that just wanted to talk to her and hear her brogue.
Yeah.
And it was strange because I never heard it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hear a brogue because I was living there. So it's really powerful when you can pair pictures or stories with the voice.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Yeah. I remember my wife's grandma and grandpa, her grandpa just passed last year, but I think this was before they eventually moved to Texas, like maybe 5 years ago or something. My time frame might be totally off, but regardless, a few years ago they moved. And before they moved, I remember we were at my wife's mom's house. And at that time, her grandfather was starting to lose his memory pretty badly. And it was getting it wasn't as bad as when he passed away, but it was getting there. And there was a lot of things he couldn't remember, but he started kind of going off about some story and was like laughing and everything. So I just quickly grabbed my phone and kind of set it there and just started recording, the video of them. And it wasn't anything super polished or anything, but we have that now, which is really cool. And a lot of times people don't do that early enough. And that's why I love too, like when we do weddings, a lot of times one of the questions I'll ask the couple when I talk to them for the first time is like, why are you doing this? And, sometimes it's just like, oh, it was a checkbox. They're not really thinking past that. It's like, we had this checklist. It told me to get a florist, a photographer, a DJ, all these things. So they're just going down and it's very transactional. And I try to have them step back for a second and think, think like 2 years from now, think 5 years from now. Are you guys going to have kids? Think about what's going to be like when you have kids. What do you want to show them? Like, what do you want this video to be that you're going to show them? And they're like, oh, we never even thought about this. Like, we're just kind of thinking about the here and now. We weren't even thinking about this. I'm like, yeah, like it isn't just a video. Like you're essentially creating a family heirloom that will be passed on from generation to generation. So it's like, how do you want to pass that on? And so I think like it's easy to just get wrapped up in our day to day. And then like when we think about how great it had been to have this recording of someone, it's like too late, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I battle with that all the time. And that's why I speak to so many groups about this.
Yeah.
Because it is like, oh, I should do this. But we got to move it up to the priority.
Right.
Priority one, because it really is not hyperbole to say the clock is ticking on us, because it really is. I've opened up bins with film and it starts breaking down chemically.
Right.
And it smells.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shoot. I mean, this could be gone.
Right.
It's the medium, and we have to get it off there as quick as we can. And the ones and zeros that are digital will be around forever. We're not relying on a machine, a piece of hardware to play these anymore.
Right.
It's just software.
Yeah. And even with that, there's, precautions you can make too of like having it in the cloud, having it on a thumb drive after a few years, like 10 years, maybe taking that thumb drive, backing up to another thumb drive. It's just so much easier to kind of navigate it once they've gone through that hurdle of getting it out of that analog format essentially and into a digital format. And then when it's in digital, there's just so many ways to make sure it's preserved.
Oh, absolutely. And once you have the stuff, let's say you had a relative who served in the military, Veterans Day, kids love posting stuff about someone in their family who was in the military.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that kids want to do with social media now, and not just kids, adults, to honor members of their family.
Yeah.
And like you say, once it's digital, you can do anything. And for photographs, we do everything in 600 DPI, so you can blow it up.
Yeah.
And it's still going to maintain the quality. We don't do anything lower than that. It's just not worth it to me.
Right.
And I just don't offer that. But it would be a lot faster for us. But it's just not the right thing to do for people going forward and to preserve this stuff.
Yeah. And it makes it even more future proof. That's like, I think we started filming on the commercial side and for weddings. We started filming in 4K like 10 years ago or something. Like pretty much as soon as the cameras could do it, we started doing it, because even though most of what we were delivering at that time was still 1080, it's like at least we have that knowing that like, hey, we did our part of like, we filmed it in the highest available to us at that time. So it'd be future proof. And now, for the most part, I would assume most people probably have a 4K TV now. So it's like when they go back to their wedding video that we did for them 10 years ago, there might be other things wrong with it because it was 10 years ago, but at least the quality is going to be sharp on whatever they play it on. Whereas if we would have just been like, oh, you know what, let's just do the bare bones, they would go back to watch it and their wedding video would already feel out of date,
Yeah. Oh, well, my 1990 wedding video is very out of date.
What was that even shot on? Was it like a...
I don't know.
I mean, maybe, well, I don't know.
The graphics, everything were just like, wow,
yeah,
this is done in a base. It's like, at the time it was the thing.
But it's
come a long way.
It has. I when I was in college, it was mostly digital by then, but they still had us film some stuff on DV tapes. And I just remember like the nightmare that could be sometimes, because you'd film this whole thing, and then if you didn't black the tape or something, you might have just messed up everything you just shot. Whereas like it's so easy nowadays, it's digital, so it's like you just look at it, okay, it looks good, doesn't look good, do it again. It's just it's crazy how much it's changed since then.
Well, we run into that with some DVDs that were like homemade.
Yeah.
And then they transfer stuff to DVD, and like, oh, it's on DVD, and I like, oh, you didn't hit that last button to finalize.
Yeah.
Like, this is trouble. So even with and I tell people always say, well, it's just like the ground, because my husband would like turn it on and off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I did the same thing. It was all brand new for us.
Yeah.
We were buying these machines that had no training.
Right.
And it was a tough time.
Yeah.
Unless you had a lot of time to sit there and read the manual, you were just hoping to hit that red button at the right time and get something on tape.
Yeah. Now, if someone shows up to your doorstep and they just have a box of film and prints, what does that process look like for them to be able to get that digitized from you?
We usually get multiple bins of photos, slides, negatives, and tapes. All kinds of tapes. Could be the mini camcorder tapes all the way up to reel-to-reel. First thing we do is the videos usually have a title on them and a name or a year or a date. So those are pretty easy to get started. Yeah. And when people say, I don't have everything, you don't have to have everything together. Just start with the tapes and get the ball rolling. And then usually the photo albums are the highlight reels of a trip or something. Like, okay, let's get those done. Those are pretty simple. We can either take them out of the albums or we do the whole album. If it's especially scrapbooks, we can do a whole page of the scrapbook.
Yeah.
And then the photos, hopefully there's some writings on the back if they're just a mess. But there's we like to separate. We had a client that went all the way back to the 1890s. Unfortunately, he had ALS, and there was no one to tell us what was going on. And they were back in Germany, but they wrote on the backs of the photos. So we just started separating stuff in decades. And once I tend to know families better than they know themselves at some point, because they start pairing up like, oh, that's the cousin. That's Mary's son, who was, the same age. So, and then I've actually counted birthday candles on cakes and photos to figure out what year something was.
Yeah.
Like, okay, wait a second. That kid's not that old. This must be someone else. And it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. And it's great if the people are still with us and can help us. Yeah. And we'll just call them up and say, I have these photos. We need to help here. Yeah. But when it was the pictures from Germany, it was doing a puzzle without any idea what the picture is going to look like. Yeah. So that was really challenging. But we have a process for that, and we can help a lot. But usually, we do have to go through a lot of Walgreens and Osco drug folder little folders. Yeah. And pull them out, and hopefully something's written on the outside of the envelope.
Yeah. That's good. So that kind of comes back again why it's so important to get ahead of it, because when everyone's still around, you can actually know who's being archived. But if it's waiting too long, it's like, like let's say you're the kid or the grandkid in the situation, it's like you might not know who that person is in that photo, like it was a family friend or a cousin or whatever. So it's nice to get ahead of it, because I can almost see it being like a fun process for the clients, where it's like they're getting to kind of put together the pieces, and it's almost like they're building out in a way like a family tree, but making it more visual of like, this was this person at this age and this age.
Especially with genealogy being so popular now. Yeah. People get data, but they don't have the stories or the photos that go along with it. Yeah. And if you compare that together, it's very powerful. Yeah. And that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then the next layer I would say is if they have video clips or audio files, that's just kind of a whole other layer of like, okay, you see the person, you know their name, you know how they're connected, but then to like actually see their mannerisms or hear how they talked, like this is kind of like a whole other layer to it.
I just did a project recently, and a woman gave this to me as a gift to her husband. Yeah. His father and grandfather, they were spitting images of each other. Yeah. And it was really interesting to see their faces were very like chiseled jaws, and they all had full heads of hair. And I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. And I told her that before. I said, wow, this is really neat. Your husband and his father and grandfather. And she's like, I've never seen that. I've never seen those photos. I can't wait to see this. Yeah. It's really fun to get to that level. Yeah. And I tell you, those old black and white photos, I don't know why everyone in those, they all look beautiful. Yeah. It's like, wow, they're really good looking people back then. But it's and the black and white wedding photos when people still threw rice.
Yeah.
Those are, you've probably seen some of those in your work. But
Yeah.
man, those are really neat to look at.
Yeah, that's cool. What's like some of the like the coolest feedback that you've gotten from people after you deliver the product?
It's usually very emotional responses.
Yeah.
From people who are sick and they brought comfort to their loved one because they can see their history.
Yeah.
A woman, before she moved to Arizona, she gave me her wedding tape, and it was approaching her 10-year anniversary of her husband passing away. And she missed him terribly.
Yeah.
And she said, can you do anything with a tape I have of our reception at our wedding?
Yeah.
And at the reception, he spoke. And this is, I think it was 1969 or 68. So the quality was horrible.
Yeah.
And I did some work to brighten it up.
Yeah.
He was in a dark hall and banquet hall. And she said, you don't realize how wonderful of a life you lived until you can watch it as a memory.
Yeah.
And she thanked me profusely and just was like, this is so comforting to me, being able to see him again.
Yeah.
That's what makes it really nice to do what I do, when I can bring that joy to them again.
Yeah.
I get a lot of stuff like that, but also I did 86 tapes for a woman. She said it was 27 years of videos of her family. And her son had been living in Tokyo, and he came home with his wife. And she gave these as Christmas gifts, these thumb drives. And so, she gave the gifts, and then the next morning she gets up, she comes down, and she's getting some coffee. She goes in there, and there he is watching his life with his new wife, who didn't know anything about him, from the past. And she said, "Are you crying?" I said, "No, I hung over or something." It was, she said it was just amazing. Yeah. Really special. So I hear those stories, and, it really makes my job fun to do. Yeah. I can do this. And that's our mission, and our company mission is to save these memories. Yeah. People don't know what they have. Yeah. So bring it back, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I love too that it just makes it more digestible for them too. Before we started, I was talking about a project we did where, like I was mentioning, I almost had to call you, but I'm like, oh no, it's just a DVD. I can just rip it. I'm okay. But he wanted to take his wedding video from like the 90s and just make it more modern. Essentially like whatever I could do to clean it up, whether it was the audio, the visuals, take this, just the way wedding videos were shot back then were so different. It's like usually just a guy with a camera, no microphone, one camera down the aisle, just like recording the whole thing. And to take that and just make it more like a highlight film. And then we put it on one of our video albums that we do. And he used that as like an anniversary gift. And now like, like his kids used to not care about watching their wedding video because it's like this 2-hour, 3-hour thing. And it was not painful. Very well shot. And yeah, it's painful. Like no kid wants to, they want to watch like an actual movie or something. They don't want to sit down and watch that. But now they pick up this book all the time because it's just like, it's quick. It's like, they can kind of point fun at like the way their uncle looked back then and was probably a little tipsy or something, and they can go back and like, look at this, and it's in a much more bite-sized, more consumable version versus like when they had it on this old DVD and they probably didn't even have a DVD player anymore. And I just think it's really cool to be able to like take stuff that probably would just sit in a box no one ever look at and put it out into the open where they actually want to look at it.
One of my goals now is to really push that if we can't make your memories as easy as bringing up a Netflix show, it's not going to get watched. Yeah. And they definitely are not going to go through bins and boxes in your attic. And what happens is people start downsizing and they go, here's all your stuff. Because they're like, what am I going to do with this? Yeah. And so unless we can get it to a format that they want to watch, like I did a war hero from World War II's love story. And they had all his stuff from the war, really, really neat stuff. Yeah. Medals, his whole uniform. He had a scabbard made from Tokyo. He was a bombardier over Tokyo. Yeah. And so what we did is we photographed everything in different angles. And so the kids can still the future generations can still see what happened and see what he had and know the stories, but they're not going to be going through those plastic bins.
Yeah.
It's a different time, and my goal is to really make it as easy as punching up a Netflix series, and they can watch it on a TV wherever they are in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I have a private YouTube channel with my family videos.
Yeah.
So wherever my kids are in the world, we can queue it up. Or if, you know, we're somewhere with friends and you want to see something funny, and watch this video we got.
Yeah. That's what I, you know, with our couples, when we do the wedding film, or if they get one of like our custom flash drive boxes, I always kind of reassure them, like, you know, I'm going to put your wedding stuff on here, but I usually try to keep the branding of it kind of generic. Like, it doesn't just say like, you know, Paul and Casey's wedding day or whatever, you know, it's usually just their names or their last name or kind of however they want that. Because I'm like, take this with you as you continue. Like, when you start taking videos of your kids that you have, like, put them on this book. Like, don't make it just the wedding. Like, keep adding to this, and then you'll be able to look back at like all of your major milestones. And I think because like, again, people aren't usually thinking that way. Even like backing up to when I was talking about like when we do our discovery call, like, I'm trying to kind of plant those ideas in their heads. So it's not just like the here and now, let's get this because we're supposed to. It's like, what are you investing in this for? Because it's an investment. Like, you know, a lot of the things with a wedding are very transactional. The flowers die, the cake will be moldy, you know, pretty shortly after. Some of the friends may even come and go, you know, but the wedding film and the wedding photos, that's like an investment. That's the way, like, I look at it, because like when we got married, I kind of almost wish we would have put a little more emphasis into that, you know, looking back on it now, but I just didn't know any better. And I think it's like, it's something that grows with value over time. And so that preservation is so important, just to give that option, you know, to have. I
agree with you on that. When you look back at, like, I've been married 36 years.
Yeah.
And you go back, and a lot of those family members aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
You know, back then we invited the cousins of the cousin, you know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And they're not around. And
Yeah.
I did a video for a woman who just had one video. I said, this is a video of my parents at a supper club in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But it's the only video that my mom, who's still with us, has of her dancing with my dad.
Yeah.
And it was only a few minutes.
Yeah.
But again, it brought them so much joy. And her mom, especially, seeing dancing again with her husband.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And so what we build is living digital archives.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who kind of phrases it like this, but so we preserve the past.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is then we add the born digital assets. So stuff on your phones, your tablets, all that, which you probably have 50% are duplicates.
Yeah.
And we put that into the archive. And now this is set to grow into the future. So your grandkids' videos, your kids are going to put those videos from their phones onto this archive. And it just keeps growing and growing. And I tell people, you have the thumb drive, put it on an external drive, and put it in the cloud.
Yeah.
Three backups.
Yeah.
And I think people are really starting to let that sink in, that because it's all digital now, it's going to keep growing for generations.
Yeah.
And it's preserved and protected.
I love that. And I wanted to ask you about that, and you kind of answered already. I was going to ask you, what's kind of the future of your business? Because as print media slowly starts to disappear, as everything had started becoming digital, what would be next? And what I was actually kind of thinking about is, like, for example, like my mother-in-law, everything is just on her phone. And I try to give her steps to how to back it up, because I'm like, if you lose this phone, you lose all this content. And in a weird way, it's like almost the same thing. It's like, it's all being banked on one thing, and if that one thing goes kaput and it's gone, you know, you no longer have those photos. And so I think it's important to have something like what you're talking about, where even though everything is digital, to know that it's going to another place, because, you know, that phone is really no different than the box in the closet of all the photos, because if it's not being properly stored, you know, you lose your phone, it dies, you can't get the stuff back. Now it's just gone, you know, maybe years of stuff. So
I actually try to reach out to my clients after a few months and see what they're doing with it, because I tell them it would break my heart if you take this thumb drive and you just dump it in your drawer.
Right.
There's, like you said, there's no difference.
Yeah.
But I want these memories to be used, and there's something called reminiscence therapy for people who are starting to lose their memory, maybe dementia.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not going to cure anyone, but what they do is depending on the patient, obviously, they bring in old photos and film and music, and they show them to the patient. And now if they have it on a iPad or something that's big and they can see it, because obviously people are aging, vision becomes an issue too. It brings them comfort. And I think that's something we all want for our loved ones, is to just bring them some sort of comfort. And it depends on the patient, but it's very powerful. And like we talked about earlier about recording voices, they're so powerful to pair up a voice with a picture or music from that time that coincides with the photo. It's very powerful.
Why do you think that's so powerful? Why do you think that works so well?
I think that because we have, no matter what stage, you have these memories deep, and it just brings it to the front. And like, oh my God, I remember that song, It's really neat.
That's kind of like my grandfather-in-law when I did the impromptu recording. Like, I don't remember, something sparks, because like most of the time he was always kind of just sitting there like aloof, like not really knowing what's going on, not really remembering anything that anyone's bringing up, because usually people are talking about more current stuff, and he has no idea what they're talking about. But then someone said something, and it's like it just triggered something like from his childhood, and then he started talking about the story from his childhood like it just happened yesterday, and it was like, whoa. And again, it was something, he heard something or someone showed him a photo or it was something like that, and then all of a sudden it just like turned on. So
it's amazing. Isn't it?
So I think having just those memories in a tangible way is so important, because it's like, we eventually lose that, and to be able to go back to it, it's a way to do it. So
even if you try finding a photo on, how many times have you gone to your phone and tried finding a photo?
Right.
You're like, I don't know when it was. And so there's so many. I have 3 grandchildren who are all under the age of 20 months now. And there's so many photos of these guys. It's unbelievable to me. But a lot of them are just duplicates. And they take up a lot of space. And then, everything I take is the live function. So they're all little mini videos. And I keep paying Apple for more and more storage. They say the cobbler's kids have no shoes. Like, even I get overwhelmed by the photos of my phone. And this is what I do. So I'm constantly trying to delete photos and pare it down. But even, Google Photos is great. That's what I use in Apple. But and they put in the dates and memories and stuff, but none of that is attached electronically to the photo. It's not metadata. So when you pull that stuff off there, it's a mess again. And I don't think people realize that. They think, oh, Google, my phone's gonna be here forever. And there was a company that was purchased, I believe it was like late 90s, early 2000s, that people were making scrapbooks online through the service, and they got bought by someone, and everything disappeared. They lost all their photo albums. So you need to protect your own stuff. You can't rely, although it seems now, everything's going to be here forever. You got to protect it.
Totally. And I know we've been mostly talking about kind of the consumer side of it, but I think that archival is important as business owners too, because there has been so many times where someone's like, can you reference this thing, or can you share this thing, or I want to make a post about something, and I remember having a behind the scenes of it, and I don't know where it is or anything. So I've tried to become very much more active, and even just preserving like stuff we do business wise, of like, here's a folder of all the stuff from this shoot, whether it's like the delivered stuff, the behind the scenes, whatever it is. So then anytime like I'm like, you know what, I want to make a post today about manufacturing. It's like, I'll just go to one of those projects like, that I have archived, and I'll grab a few behind the scenes that I could pull. Whereas it used to be like, what day was that again? We did that shoot for that one manufacturer, and what was their name? And, you're trying to like figure it all out, and then it's not there anymore. And you're like, okay, well, where did we move it to? And it's like just having these albums for our business as well, of like different milestones or things we've done, or, any kind of like documentation type stuff that you can always go back to if you need to.
I did a job last year for an auto and boat upholstery company in the far, like Geneva, far western suburbs. And they were having an anniversary. And they had all these, they started on Archer Avenue in the city way back in the 50s. and they wanted to have a slideshow for and they had incredible growth.
Yeah.
It was really a neat job, and I wish more businesses would buy into that. It's not a primary target for me right now, but it should be.
Yeah.
I tried when I was with the agency. I started trying to do that, and like, oh yeah, we have all these files of all our marketing stuff going way back, but no one wants to pay for that.
Yeah.
I tried, but
I
it's
think
so powerful. I mean, you pay all these agencies now, and like the value of showing us, hey, we've been around a while.
Yeah,
we've been through the dips and the valley. We've been through it. You can trust us.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to sell before.
Yeah, I believe too. It depends maybe on the business. Like a family-owned business might care more about it than it's been passed off to some other person who doesn't have that legacy attachment. Because we had a manufacturer. They did a similar thing. They wanted to make kind of a slideshow of their history, because I forgot how many. I think it was like 50 years or something. But one fun thing they did, and you could take this idea if you want. They wanted to then take some of the photos and put them on a viewfinder. Those like little like things ones you'd put up on your face, like as kids. There was a company they found that will do that. It's like a digital version of that. So you load up the photos and then you look through the viewfinder. So they did that with some of their history photos, like one of their first photos, a photo of some other monumental event. And then they had that at the anniversary event that people like pick up and look through.
Oh, that
was fun. But they were really proud of their history. But I know sometimes businesses, they don't have maybe that pride in their business, or again, it was passed off to someone else or someone else bought the business. But those family-owned businesses, I think some of them, whether they know it or not, they're attached to those memories, and sometimes they just need to be reminded of like, hey, like this is as much of your family as your family is your family, and you should preserve this just as much as you're preserving your family.
That might be really neat for you for weddings.
Yeah,
if you had one of those on a table and it showed the couple through the years.
Yeah,
because usually, like my kids got married, so you had the slideshows at the showers,
right?
But not at the wedding.
Yeah,
that might be something.
Yeah, that might be kind of fun. They have that memory table. They could have a little like viewfinder there. People could pick up and look through too.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do, because there's a lot of dead time at a wedding, and you're sitting there.
Yeah, obviously we go to a lot more weddings where we're working than a guest.
Yeah,
but when I go as a guest, especially when I'm not in the wedding, I'm like, what do we do? I feel like I should be doing something, because I'm so used to like busy work all day, and it's like you're just like standing around during cocktail hour. It's like bizarre to me. I'm like, oh, I guess this is what it normally is like for people at the wedding. They're just kind of waiting for the next thing.
If it's family and friends that have been around for a while, it's pictures of them too as kids.
Yeah,
and then that sparks so much conversation and laughter and fun, and you're in your awkward years, and oh my God, you look like that. Oh my God, what are you doing? Like we used to jump bikes in the alley, and I wish I had pictures of those things.
Yeah, now kids have like too much content of themselves. Almost, It's like, which one do we pick?
Right.
So, John, what's next for you? I mean, I know we've been talking a lot about the past, but what's in the future for you?
Our next project we're rolling out is something we're calling Legacy Family Videos. So we'll take your archive once it's all digitized and make basically a highlight reel. It could be 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes. It could be longer if you'd like it, but we'll interview you. You can do a voiceovers if you'd like. You can do it on camera if you'd like. But we want to put the stories with the people telling them with the photos. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes that where, I can just cue this up and watch it.
Yeah.
And I get the highlight reel of our family legacy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really powerful for families to have that.
Yeah.
But like we said, it's just getting tougher and tougher to the next generations to click through things.
Yeah.
So we got to make it like pulling up something on Netflix.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's going to be the next one. And I'm really expanding my speaking roles so that I can talk to more people about, like I'm talking to you about, the power of those family memories and how important it is that we take responsibility and preserve and protect our past, because the clock really is ticking on these assets. Yeah,
that's great. John, if anyone wants to connect with you, where's the best place to find you?
Well, I'm on all the socials as usual. Not on TikTok yet, but Facebook, The Family Album Company, Instagram, The Family Album Company. My website is thefamilyalbumcompany.com, where you can see stuff from our work, putting blogs up there, some self-help tips, and how to get started yourself. I have a real quick little sheet I have 2 sheets. One that says 5 questions to get those family discussions started, or you thinking about, have a cup of coffee, or, late at night, have a glass of scotch and just sit and just think a little bit about what legacy do you want to leave to the next generations coming behind you. And then the other one is 5 tips on how to get started to do it, what you need to do.
Yeah. And I know you're talking about speaking as well. Is there a place people should go if they want to inquire about having you speak?
Yes, I have. It's called bookjohntospeak.com, and I do anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. It's since the name of my company is a family album company, I take people on a family road trip to visit 3 of my clients and show them through storytelling the power of digitization.
Is it like the slideshow with the clicker too? You're like, it's like legit, like,
yeah.
All right, kids, gather around with the.
I have the PowerPoint, but I really try to touch people's hearts and tell them what's going on in the digital world and how they can really take control of their history and for the next generations to come.
That's great. That's great. Well, John, I want to thank you for your time and joining me and just sharing your insight on all this. And until next time, stay creative.